Hi, this is Darcy from Food for Your Life, Food for Your Soul, and I figured I'd take you on a mid-May garden tour. So let's begin. So let's do a tour of the garden this morning. These right here are my blueberries. That I thought was blueberry. I don't know. Could have swore it was blueberry. I'm checking to see if it may develop into something else, but it is very similar to the leaves here on this blueberry. So that's why I'm thinking it's a blueberry. I don't know. I put it in my aquaponics and not too sure what I got. This is a future project of things I need to clean up. My little wood pile I need to chip and shred. It's on my to-do list. My blueberries over here looking good. As you can see, there is lots of fruit and a morning snack. Oh, those little things are a little too heavy for those berries. Oh. I'm gonna probably need to give the berries a trim anyways after I'm done with my fruit, just so that they can get a little stronger, and then I can also remove my bird netting here in a bit too. Once they're done fruiting, I'm gonna take the netting down and leave them be, but I don't know, they're doing pretty good. Over here, I have my brambles. So I did put up some twine to try to contain them. It's not quite working as well as I would like. I didn't keep up with it as much as I should have, just because I've been pretty busy. But they are starting to put on fruit. After they're done fruiting, I probably will trim them back some to try to recontain them here in the twine. Over here, I have banana plants. One is having some transplant shock. I think in the transport it kind of broke right here, so I think this piece is broken. I don't know. I'm contemplating like I should probably trim it back. It's an herb. It should grow back, but I don't know. It's not looking too good. Chicory is planted there. I've got some comfrey. The seeds never came up. I just put the seeds there. Maybe they'll come up next spring. They need to be cold stratified. And then over there, my other banana plant's looking fine. It's a little bit transplant shock, but it's doing okay. So bananas are in. Right here, I've got some good old chickpeas. Trying to figure out when I need to harvest those pods. My amaranth is looking beautiful. I've got some more chicory down there. And obviously you can see my brambles are doing good. I need to move those back brambles. I'm right now trying to figure out a spot to put them where they would do a little bit better. Or do I leave the brambles in the tall bed and move these guys? I'm still trying to think about what I want to do. Chickpeas, I've got a peach, a nasturtium here. It's looking beautiful. Got some alyssum kind of put in here. The nasturtiums and stuff's just to be a deterrent from having things attack my beans. Over here, I've got another peach nasturtium hiding amongst my, I think this is a Cherokee wax bean. So they tend to get a little yellow. I'm waiting for them to kind of yellow up before I harvest them. So they're kind of looking pretty good. More alyssum, and then these get into my burgundy beans, which they're beautiful burgundy color. I really kind of like them. They're really kind of cool looking. Let me see if I can find one. I've got to pick them. Oh, here's a few. They're getting kind of big. But some burgundy beans. And then I think my next ones, I want to say these might be the white Great Northern beans, if I remember correctly. And I come down here and we get into some black turtle beans that are in these pods here. And then I've got some poppy that's going to develop, and this is a weed, but I'm waiting to see what it does, and then I'll probably pull it. Some dill. My dill's looking pretty good. I've got yarrow that's just gone crazy here. I don't know, this common yarrow, it does go pretty crazy. It's medicinal. My lamb's ear is looking pretty good. I've got another lamb's ear over here that's looking good. So my lamb's ears are looking good. And I've got my lamb's quarter. It's a common weed, but it makes a tasty snack. Believe it or not, this stuff is pretty good. It is actually more nutritious than spinach. Excuse me as I chew. Like I said, tastes just like spinach. This right here, I've got a mix of brambles and strawberries and garlic. So it's looking pretty good. I've got my horseradish plant. I just bought a bulb over at Sprouts and put it in the ground, and this is what I've got. And my sunflowers are getting pretty tall. This is another yarrow. I'm thinking it's a different colored yarrow. And then I've got a blue hoppy. This was actually a seed that didn't germinate. I just threw the soil down, and voila, now I've got a germinating blue hoppy corn. So we'll see what happens here. Got some more beans. These aren't identified. This might be just like a Blue Lake bush bean, but I'm not too sure. And then we're gonna get down into my pinto beans. Pinto beans with a little bit of DeChico broccoli. I probably, well, when my broccoli's done, I'm gonna have more room for Mr. Feverfew back here. I did make the mistake of trying to transplant my chamomile, and I think I killed it, so I'm trying to grow more from seed. Calendula, some of the flowers are looking spent. I'm trying to pick the buds off and see what we can kind of do, but my calendula is looking good. Some of it's getting overpowered, though, with my thornless blackberry here. So it's looking pretty good. On this side, I'm going to find a new solution for my peppermint. I'm thinking grow bags. Grow bags would be the way to go, not put it in with my berries because, well, the spearmint is taking over. Over here, we have radishes. My radishes are going to seed intentionally. It was getting hot. I just let some of them go to seed just to have more seeds, and that saved me a little bit of money when I have to garden for next year. I'm also doing the same with the lettuce. I did harvest a good portion of lettuce. I'm going to let some of this go to seed too and try to harvest the seeds from the lettuce. My dill's looking pretty good. I've got, I think it's a holy basil plant that's looking really crazy. I've got sage looking good, thyme's in there. It's getting a little crowded out by the holy basil. And so this is looking pretty good. There are some random carrots in here. I found a couple last night. They were good snackers. More mint. I don't know. I've got so much mint. It's just crazy. My nasturtium here is acting like a very good trap plant. It's looking pretty good there. I've got a little bit of cilantro in here, and I am letting it go to seed. I'm kind of hoping if I can seed it, I can just kind of get cilantro in here. It's a cooler crop. It needs a little shade cloth. And then I've got a couple coffee plants. A little bit of transplant shock here, but we'll see what happens. The peas in the tube are about done because it's getting too hot. But, you know, there are a few pea pods. These guys, I'm going to let them just seed, I think. I'm just and then save the seeds. I've got some tea plants back there. As you can see, more mint. I'm like swimming in mint. I'm going to come over here. I've got a rose. I still haven't planted it. I need a specific spot for it. Over here, as you can see, more peppermint going crazy as it's basically, I don't know, spreading like wildfire. Rosemary's doing well. I've got brambles over here. I have some blackberries that got into my raspberries that need to be transplanted in the fall. They need to find a new spot. They need to find a new home. I've got a couple gladiolas in here. That would be my pretty much my golden raspberry. And then, as you can see, a couple blackberries. They're starting to put on fruit. I've got a goji berry in here. My onions are in here. And of course the blackberries are fruiting. And yes, that one will need to move too. I got to figure out what's what in here. I thought I had raspberries in here, but I might just, when I can rehome some of these guys, I think I'm going to go in here and maybe add a couple more raspberries next spring. That'll be the plan. My strawberries are blooming. I don't know if they're setting fruit though. They should be, but we shall see. And then I've got a few next month. These onions should be good to come out. So hopefully. Over here, let's see, I've got some good old oregano, asparagus. I had just planted them, but be transplanting to the horse trough that needs to be done over there. I've got another horse trough I'm going to move over there too, probably in the fall. And then here, my fennel's looking good. My onions, those are my chives. I'm letting them go to seed. I did have an issue where I found out that some of my aquaponic beds here kind of like came apart and they weren't getting water down at the end. I had to get my husband out here last night to help me. So I have a project. I told him I want to get some 4x4 posts and basically put barrier on the outside, kind of like a little way to contain them so they don't really slide with gravity. But this is just a temporary measure on this guy. But I want to get actually some new 4x4s and some 2x4s and kind of get this kind of shored up better. I did add a few little herbs in here. I've got some savory hiding. It's like hiding there. And then I added, this is some lettuce leaf basil. That should be pretty good. I've got some celery. These are like 2-year-old plants. I'm letting them seed. As you can see, I've got seeds coming here. This is more of my chives that have gone to seed. So lots of little seeds here. You know what? I don't care if they seed in here. It's a good little trap or pest deterrent plant, I should say. Onions, I'm letting those onions go to seed. And then I hopefully will do starters with those. I think I've got a white, a yellow, and a red onion going to seed. And then here's some more garlic. I pulled garlic the other day and it was yellowing. These aren't quite yellowing yet, but once they get more yellowed, probably next month, I'm going to pull the bulbs and kind of go from there. And as you can see, I've got lots of my little kitties visiting. Let's see, over here, cactus. Some of my little ground cover here. Looks like I needed to water. It didn't look too good, and neither is this guy. I transplanted. But anyway, my dragon fruit's looking like he's doing a lot better. He still has a little bit of a rust issue that I've been trying to treat, but he's doing better. And then this is a future project here of more things I'm going to convert to beds. Right here is a temporary location for duckweed. I thought I killed it all last year, but lo and behold, it started popping up again. I put a little bit in here. Now I've got a lot. You're probably wondering what's the purpose of duckweed. I actually use it to feed my goldfish. And of course, I've got some dirt. My plan for these, I'm going to put them up on some cinder block and try to connect at least the drainage into my aquaponics. And I may connect my watering line and just run this into the aquaponics as well. I will need to figure out a way to hook up plumbing and probably fill the bottom with pea gravel and then a soil compost layer. Over here, I've got my beans. I've got some more lamb's quarter. I'm just letting it go because that could be my summer green because it gets too hot for other things. And then here, I've got my corns. I've got a few different varieties. They're kind of more the native corns. I've got Jamocha striped corn. I think this is painted corn, painted hill corn. It's very similar to the glass gem over there. And this one over here, I think it's a strawberry popcorn. This one over here, I can't remember. I got it in the house. And then I've got my Three Sisters method going. If you see, I've got my beans. Look at my beans, using the corn to climb up. And I've got my squash. This is actually pumpkin. It's going to be in between. So I'm trying to do the Three Sisters method with my corn right now. I had a pumpkin that died here, so I replanted, and looks like they're coming up okay. And of course, I still have lots and lots and lots of lamb's quarters that I'm just going to leave be. I did add, I've got like a little amaranth plant here. This one here, I added, trying to remember what I put there. I put another plant there. I can't remember what it was. Oh my gosh. And here, I think it's another amaranth. Should be in here. Hello. Unless it didn't die back, did it? Did the amaranth disappear? Oh. Nope. There it is. There it is. It came out. Let me replant the little amaranth guy. Let's replant you, little dude. We don't want you to die. Anyway, another amaranth right there. I'm going to cover him up, give him a little bit of protection from the sun. So, anyway. What was it that I planted there? Oh, wait a minute. Amaranth. There should be another tag popping out of here pretty soon. Where's my tags? Oh my gosh, I can't remember what I planted. I planted something. I'll figure it out when it gets bigger. I can't remember. Oh, I remember what there are. They're sweet potato slips. That's right. Yeah, I planted those. Anyway, had to remind myself. Over here, we've got what's left. I planted some things up. There's some things that didn't sprout, so I decided to replant them. So we'll see what happens. I even have my dragon fruit cuttings out here. In this greenhouse, I've got a couple pineapples. Actually, I started that guy a couple years ago from a pineapple top. Holy basil, just propagating. I left it. I've got some turmeric, some ginger, and then in here I added some marshmallow plant. I did transplant my artichokes. And this guy, I didn't realize there was this big old air pocket. I had to replant him yesterday. But this other guy over here looks like we're finding some new life. It's coming back from the dead. Yay. That was all celery that it dried out in here. It I just cut it all down to the root. It should hopefully come back from the dead. Same thing with these guys. I'm probably going to pull them at the end of this year too. So we shall see. More celery. I've got more dragon fruit that I'm trying to root. And then here's another top too. It hasn't put on roots yet, but I'm hopeful of a pineapple that I cut up not too long ago. So we shall see. I did add some fertilizer to the water because some of the stuff was looking a little yellow. So hopefully that'll pop up and get a little bit better. My solar system, which reminds me I need to turn on the power to water the aquaponics. I usually turn it off at night. Even though there's battery, the battery just doesn't seem to want to do what it's supposed to do. More celery, and holy basil is basically taking over this space. So I'm of course not touching it. I like holy basil, I like my tea, but it is pretty much taking over this space. And then I do have a collard that I'm letting go to seed so I can harvest the seeds. Oh, and there is some catnip in here. We don't let the cats know about this because when I have planted the catnip elsewhere, the cats have pretty much tried to kill it and destroy it. Callie, come here, kitty. Callie. Oh boy, now I got a cat in here. Getting the cats out of here, that's another challenge. Callie, kitty. She's stubborn. So let's see. Turned around the solar. And as you can see, a mulch pile. I'll be moving that more shortly. I've got a bed. Gopher's got my yarrow, my bee balm, and my African violets. African daisy, that's what it was. African daisy. Took that out. And also took out a couple other things. So I need to get little gopher bags and replant them in those areas after I grow them again, and we'll go from there. Anyway, over here. So I showed you my beans. I do have some watermelon and melon growing up in this area. Some of these were volunteers. I've got some cantaloupe. And then I've got Tomato Alley going. I got lots of tomatoes. Tons of tomatoes. So the tomatoes are going good. I need to come out here and start pruning away and start attaching them to the trellis. Haven't done that yet, haven't had time, but they are here. Many different varieties of heirlooms. I've got the tomatillo plant here. I got a couple more tomatillos, and then I added a couple more other little babies down here. Baby tomatoes. Paul Robeson took them forever to germinate. Don't know what his deal was. He was just late to the show. And then this is a brown sugar tomato I got from Baker Creek. And then here I've got a couple of my cucumbers. This guy is looking pretty good. I'm gonna try to get you moving up the trellis, baby. Move up the trellis. That's what I want. And then more holy basil. Like, that stuff multiplies like you would know. Wouldn't believe. And it's ending up anywhere. I did add some rosemary, and then my homemade pickles. Looks like that cucumber's finally resurrecting itself. It wasn't doing too good. It didn't do well with some transplant shock. And then I got a pretty nasty, gnarly grass that's grown up as a weed that I want to pull, because this is a nasty sticker grass that's just, oh, I hate this stuff. So I'm going to try to pull it now so that it doesn't develop into something else later. This is a weed, but actually it's a pretty good repellent. Bugs do not like, the pesty bugs do not like it. So I decided we're going to leave it. I did a little bit of research. I do have more tomatoes on this side, or if you want to call them maters, they're over here. So I do have some of that. And of course, imagine that, more holy basil. This stuff is very prolific. It grows everywhere. Once you plant holy basil, you're not getting rid of it. And on this side, I do have my peppers. I had a couple that I tried to winterize. This one, I think that might have been one I planted. This one's a winterizer that's kind of coming out of dormancy. And this is the second one I winterized, and it looks like it's trying to put on a few leaves too. It's trying to come out of dormancy. We shall see what it does. And then I've got my tomato here that's kind of definitely not tamed, but I'm going to need to try to trim it back too. It's kind of going wild. And then I have a few more peppers, and I think along here there is another tomatillo behind me that I planted. So one of these is a tomatillo. But yeah, more of my tomatoes. These were planted a little later, so they're a little smaller. So I don't know, some of them wanted to come out, some of them did not. And as you can see, guess what? More holy basil. Like I said, this stuff is very prolific. Once it gets going, you can have holy basil everywhere. Pops up everywhere. But anyways, out there, my cherries trees are done. We're getting into some peaches. Peaches are next. So that's kind of where things are at. So the orchard's looking pretty good. My plans for the orchard, I'm signed up for chip drop. I'm waiting to see if it'll ever arrive. Some guy had to wait like over 600 days here in the valley for his chip drop. But my plan here is, I think I obviously want to continue to work at building up the soil in the garden, but eventually I think I want to start putting some like wildflowers in between the trees and start little rows and pull up my drip irrigation. It's buried right now. And then to eventually maybe get these tire rings off the trees. People probably wonder why I did them in the first place. I know tires can be a little bit of a toxic, controversial issue. Mainly was for my father-in-law. He's in his 80s. He mows, and he has a notorious habit of hitting my drip irrigation lines. So I had to bury them. And even after I buried them, he was still getting the drippers around the trees. So I had to create a barrier from his mower from constantly knocking out the drippers on my trees. And so I went with used tires that I basically, I'm gonna say roadside cleanup. Went around all around the valley because people dump their tires everywhere. You find them pretty frequently. And then I took my little reciprocating saw, cut off the sidewalls, put a slit down the side of the tire, and then joined it back up together with basically a piece of metal, a binding strip. And voila, there I have it. I've got tree ring guards to protect them from the mower. So that's what I've done. Anyways, this is the garden tour for mid-May. I hope you've enjoyed it, and God bless, and I'll see you again probably in June.